Welcome to the OTRS 8 webinar, where we're going to talk about how you can personalize your OTRS solution. My name is John Coggins. I'm the Global Business Relationship Manager with OTRS, and I'm joined today with by my colleague Luca Smolsing. Luca is going to go over in detail the user profile of OTRS 8, how your agents can personalize it, security, the notification settings, most importantly, the organizer, how they can make the organizer work for them and their overall OTRS 8 solution. It's going to talk about the chat availability, how you can log in and log out, and the help section. If there are some questions or topics that Luca didn't cover that you need more information on, please feel free to reach out to us after the webinar at sales@otrs.com. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Luca and let him show us all the new and important things in OTRS 8.
Thank you very much, John. All right, so let's start all over again. We will focus on the personalization area, which will basically be on the upper left corner of your interface, and the organizers down below. So all these organizer items and how to configure them. So let's start with the personalization area. As soon as you click on the avatar on the upper left corner, there will be a fly out. So this is something very special and new on our OTRS 8 version, since we are working now with a one-pager and having these flyouts from the left and the right side. Maybe you noticed it already in the last training. We are not fiddling around with these pop-ups anymore. So I'm sure in the past you had the problem that you sometimes misclick the pop-up and then you start searching this pop-up in your browser. And this is in the past, since we are working with these flyouts from the left and the right side. So every time there won't be a new window, a new pop-up, there will always be these flyouts from the left and right side, which gives you the advantage that it doesn't matter in which view you're currently in. So right now I'm in the business object detail view. You can always select or change settings in your, for example, personalized area or in your widget configuration. So you can always do that without leaving your current view, which means I can change stuff in the user profile. And as soon as I save it, so for example, I change the language to German and save it, you will still get back to your interface and it will be updated dynamically. So as soon as I can switch to the dashboard as well. And you will see as soon as I click on the interface and change the language setting, for example, it is changed in a way of not leaving this mainframe where you're currently in. So let's take a closer look at the user profile and all these settings you have there. So at the beginning, you are able to change your avatar. The avatar is not only displayed in your organizer on the upper left corner, but it's also displayed in the ticket detail view. So in the business object detail view, every time you write with a customer, your avatar will be displayed, and you saw it on the people stripe, so on the side stripe of your business object detail view, where you had the persons who were interacting with the tickets. You had displayed your avatar, and you could see that you are able to change this avatar image here via a local upload. In earlier versions, you were only able to change your avatar with the gravatar.com link. This is still possible. You can use this function still, but the local upload is very helpful if you don't use Gravatar for other websites, because Gravatar is a very good solution if you would like to upload your avatar to many websites. And Gravatar is a solution where you can upload this avatar once and then just paste the URL, the link of your avatar, and it will be it will get your avatar from this website, so you don't need to upload it everywhere. But as I told you, you can locally upload it as well. Next setting would be the language setting. So I think this is quite understandable. You can just choose the language you would like to have your interface in, and you can still search for specific languages. For example, you can filter here as well. This is of course for every setting. So if you have a very big screen, you can use this filter section over here to filter for a specific setting. For example, the language setting, and then only the language setting will be displayed. So this filter will be everywhere in OTRS. You will always have the solution, or the possibility at least, that you can filter for certain settings or certain criteria. Depends on the view you're currently in. On the right side of the language selection, you have a globe icon, which gives you the possibility to load all available languages of OTRS 8. So you will see there are quite a lot more languages available, but since they are incomplete, so they are not fully translated yet, they are not shown by default. You need to get them via this globe icon. So of course, feel free to use your language, even if it's not fully translated. So terms that are not translated yet will be displayed in English language. And yeah, you can of course always feel free to help us to translate. So this will help us completing this translation process. So there's a website which is called translate.otrs.com. There you can select the version where you would like to give a translation. So for example, we choose OTRS 8. Then you always need to choose the OTRS folder, which is the core of the core software of OTRS, and there you can see the different languages and how they are translated so far. So you can always choose one, and then via the search you are able to search for a specific value. So for example, it's possible to I don't know. Well, right now we have here, for example, the change avatar image. So just feel free to search for change avatar image, then he will find the string, and now you can provide a translation. So as you can see, it's very easy. You can save it or just give a suggestion for this translation, and it will help us to complete all these incomplete translated languages. All right, so this is the language section. Next section, which is very new in OTRS 8, is the style section, since you are able to switch between different styles. Many customers requested that in the past, so we were always asked for a dark mode. You can choose this one. Let me show you. And the interface will be displayed in a dark mode. So especially for colleagues or IT agents who are working in the night and don't like the very bright design of our interface can now switch to the dark mode as well. There are other style variants available too, so you can always choose your variant over here. So for example, we can make a new highlight color, and now it is a dark mode with a yellow highlight color. So you can always choose your variant here, and of course as an administrator you can define which variants are available, which highlight colors. You can define that or configure it on the administrator dashboard, of course. So let's switch back to the bright mode, but before I do so, I would like to show you the high contrast as well, which is very helpful, for example, for disabled people who are not able to read in a very proper way, or just when you are, for example, working on a construction site where we have a lot of sunlight and you can't read your laptop screen very well. So the high contrast skin can be very helpful for just a very good way to read what is displayed on the interface. And of course, we have a dark mode here as well. So the high contrast dark, it's just the other way around. So feel free to use these different styles and variants and configure them as you like. And of course, in your corporate identity color, that's the very much most use case here. Okay, next setting is the time zone. So here you can always filter for your time zone where you're currently in. I'm located in Cologne, Germany. So my time zone is Europe, Berlin. You can always search for different continents, for example, America, where my colleague John is located. Or you can just search for specific cities. So for example, Amsterdam, or yeah, as you like. So always choose your capital city and you will find the right time zone. But as I told you, for me, Europe, Berlin is very fine. The date time format is a very new setting too. As you can see here, we can now choose between an absolute datetime format, a combined datetime format, or a human readable time format. This is very new, the human readable. What is it? So let me show you. The human readable shows you dates in terms of, yeah, for example, here you can see it very good. 34 minutes ago has this object been created, or 2 months ago, or 11 days ago. So it is always going into the past. So the time span between this, where the object has been changed or created, or any other date, and it will yeah, make a sum of the time that has been in between. So in this case, 11 days. When you hover the icon, the item, you will see an absolute date as well. So you can always see the date as well if you hover the object. And you can still, if you don't like this human readable function, you can of course use the absolute time as well. And then only the date will be shown. So always, as you can see here, the date will be shown. Another option, so now we have the human readable as an hover right now. And of course, you can combine both. So as soon as you choose this function, both will be displayed. So 2 months ago and the absolute date. I always prefer, since it's a very new and cool function, OTRS 8, I always prefer the human readable. Since I still can hover over the item and see the absolute date if I need it. So that's my suggestion here. Okay. Next setting and last setting of the user profile is the out of office time. So the out of office time gives you the opportunity to define different times when you are not at your workplace. This can be due to several reasons. For example, you are sick and that's why you can't be at work, because you are on vacation or you are on a ferry. So there are different reasons why you are currently not in the office. And a very new and very nice new function on OTRS is that you now can add several out of office timers. So as soon as you click on this calendar icon, you can see that yeah, basically the time, and you can choose from when to when you would like to have yourself out of office. So you can plan your whole vacation, your whole ferries and everything where you're not at the office, and add it over here. So it is very helpful to plan your year and you don't need to take care of it anymore later. So before it was just possible to add one date or time span, and then you need to do the next one after it is done. But now you can add as many as you like, and of course delete them as well again. So what happens if I choose myself to be out of office? Let me show you. There are 4 functions behind it, and I would like to explain it to you. The first function is that now on the dashboard where I'm currently located, you can see when let me refresh, that I'm currently out of office since from today until the 19th of March not or my workplace. So I have selected that in my out of office setting. So this is the first function of the out of office timer. The second function is everywhere where my name is displayed. So in every ticket, for example, if I open a ticket of mine, the network drive not responsible, you can see now that I'm currently out of office, 31 days left. This is always displayed at my name. So if you would like, for example, to assign a ticket to me, so if there is a new ticket and you would like to set myself as an owner of the ticket, so you perform an action. I don't have permissions in that queue, but let me show you, for example, here. So as soon as you change the owner, it will always be displayed on the right side. So you will always see that there is the out of office until so and so many days. So you will always see a hint and know, okay, I probably won't or shouldn't access or assign the ticket to this agent since he's for the next month out of office. This is the second function. The third function is that when now a customer, so please imagine you are the owner of a ticket, as I'm here. I'm currently out of office. This is the second condition. And the third condition is the ticket is locked. So I'm the owner, I'm out of office, and the ticket is locked. And now the customer writes a communication, so for example, an email to me. Now the ticket will be automatically unlocked for other agents, because when you are out of office and you have locked the ticket on yourself, there's no one else able to work in this ticket and to take care of your customer. So as soon as he writes you a message, it will be unlocked automatically so that other customers, or sorry, that other agents are able to to take care of this case. So this is a very useful function here that it will be auto unlocked and other can take care of it. The fourth function is in your ticket notifications or your appointment notifications. In the admin area, you can always decide if you would like to have the out of office, if you would like to have the ticket notification sent to agents that are currently out of office as well, which means if you are currently out of office, would you like to receive ticket and appointment notifications too or not? So these are the four functions that are behind this user profile out of office time. And that's it for the user profile section. So let's continue with the security section. The security section gives us the possibility to change the password for our agent. Of course, this is only available if you are not using an LDAP backend, for example. So please always be aware that the LDAP backend is prioritized, and you, of course, can't change the password if you are using an LDAP backend. But when you are using the OTRS database, there's the possibility to change the password here. A new section here is the two-factor authentication. Of course, we had it in all earlier versions as well, but now we can set it up in another way and use other authentication methods. So for example, there is the Authenticator app. So you can set it up over here. You can now, or you need to add in your current password to activate the two-factor authentication. Now you need to get an Authenticator app. Feel free to choose your favorite one, for example, the Google Authenticator. You can use or any other Authenticator app. That's pretty much up to you. And then you can scan this QR code and these codes. So in the future, when you try to log in, there will be a code sent to your Authenticator app, or it will be generated through your Authenticator app, and you can add the code to when you are logging in. So you have authenticated yourself successfully. So this is the first option. Second option is email. So you just basically add your password again and enable the email security. So every time when you're trying to log in, it will send a code to your email address. This is the other possibility here. And the third option is the SMS function. This is only available, of course, if you are using the SMS package. You can request that at your sales responsible, and yeah, would be available here as well. There's another option which is called Browser Trust. The Browser Trust gives you the possibility to save a two-factor authentication or a successful authentication on a specific device, which means as soon as you are entering an interface and you save the section or the access on this device, you're able to save it for later sessions. So you don't need to always re-authenticate in a two-factor way over and over again. So, but this is up to the administrator. Of course, you can configure this. You can configure this very detailedly. So you can define what should the password consist of, if there should be upper or lowercase characters, certain conditions for the password, if it should expire, and stuff like this. And the same goes for the two-factor authentication. So you can define how do you trust, do you enable the browser trust, how long do you enable the browser trust? So should it expire after 30 days, for example? And then someone needs to re-authenticate again for this device. And there is a revoke all trusted device function with this bin. Here you can delete all devices you've currently marked or saved as trusted device. Of course, this can be done as an administrator as well. All right, so let's finish this section and continue with the notification settings section. In the notification sections, you always, as the name already includes, you always configure your notification. So how the notifications or when the notification should be sent. The first action or the first option you need to configure is the My Queues section. So here you define for which queues notifications should be sent. So for example, in my case, it is the IT service desk and the technical support. So only if I've activated these queues, the notifications I've selected over here will be sent. Of course, you can only select between the queues where you have access, at least read only, because otherwise there won't be displayed here. The second section here is the My Services. So when you are using the ticket service, for example, you're also able to use these My Services to select specific services where you would like to receive notifications for. So as soon as a ticket, it doesn't matter anymore in which queue the ticket is, as soon as the service you have selected here has been added to the ticket, you will receive notifications. Now we will come to the core configuration of your notifications. So here you can see how, so the first thing is, what's the notification about? So in this case, we have the, for example, ticket create notification. As soon as you hover over the notification, there will be a tooltip displayed. So as you can see here in this black box, there is the tooltip that you will receive a notification each time a new ticket is created in one of your My Queues or My Services, as I told you before. And now you can define where should it be sent. So what should be the transport method? Should it be via email, via web view, or via SMS? But of course, as I told you before, SMS is only available if you are using the SMS package, which can be requested from us. So many customers are asking me, when should I use which notification method? I would recommend, or it always depends on which device or on which tool you are using in your daily business. So if you are working a lot the OTRS software, which I of course supposed you to do, but if you're working a lot in OTRS itself, I would recommend the web view, since you will receive the notification at the place where you are working. Because if you activate the web view, all notifications will be shown over here in the header section in the notification bell. So it will be displayed here, which is very helpful since you will work in the screen here and you will see if there is a new notification. So I think when you are working a lot in your OTRS software, then I would recommend the web view. If you are using OTRS just as a helpful tool, so your main software is something else or just another software you are using, and you are not spending too much time in OTRS, I would recommend the email function, because it can be very helpful to be notified in another application. So feel free to choose what you are comfortable with. As you can see here, it always has to be configured from the administrator or by the administrator that the setting is available to be used. So email is activated, but in this case, WebView and SMS is not even activated by the administrator, so I can't even use them even if I would like to. So this can be done in the administrator dashboard. And of course, you can use the header section to do an all or none selection of the items. So you can see here, or you can just, if you select none, of course, no notification will be sent. And the same in green is for the appointment notifications. So here you can define the same as soon as it is configured by the administrator, what's available. All right, so let us continue with the next section. So I will save this setting over here. And now we will continue with the organizer, which is my, let's say, biggest point or aspect I would like to focus on today. So the organizer is a very new area of OTRS and brings a lot of new features and improvements of the software. So on the left side, you have this organizer here, and you can customize it. Before I do so, I would like to explain the organizer itself and what it is or how it is supposed to be used. So you can see we have different business object lists here. So new expression or new term, you need to know a business object list consists of different business objects. So in this case, we have a ticket list, 11 tickets as you can see, and all these objects over here are called business objects. And the list itself is called business object list. If we click on a business object, for example, the network issues again, we will go to the business object detail view. We have learned that in the last session. So now you know all the very important new expressions. And as I told you before, a business object list does not need to be a business object ticket list. It can be, for example, a knowledge base article list or a customer list or an appointment list or a CMDB item list. So different objects, that's why we have summarized it in the word business object. So in this case, we have three lists over here. We have the tickets which I'm currently watching. We have the tickets that are in my queues, and we have the tickets that are unresolved. So tickets where I'm the owner and they are locked. So you can see here I'm the owner and the ticket is locked. Let me very quickly delete the out of office time, so my name will be shortened a bit. So there we go. All right. And now I would like to explain this view to you. So you can see we have again a fly out, and we now receive this ticket overview. Let's take a closer look, because you can perform different actions already here. You can, for example, watch or unwatch a ticket in a very quick way, which was not possible before. because before you always, in OTRS 7, for example, you always needed to enter a ticket to unwatch it and or to watch it. So this was not, if you had, for example, 20 tickets you would like to unwatch, this was very time consuming because you needed to enter every and each ticket and unwatch it manually. Now you can do it here in a very quick way. As you can see, I can just click, so I can just watch or unwatch these tickets in a very quick way. The second function is the open full list and highlight this entry function. So if you have a very big list, of course, in this case, it's just 11 entries. So I think it's handleable, but please imagine we are just using this one. So you can open, so imagine you have a very big list. You can use this list to, for example, highlight a specific entry, in this case, the printer issue ticket I've just selected, and now you can perform even more actions. So as soon as you are, as you have opened this list, you can use this bulk function over here on the left side to perform, with click on this pencil, a bulk action on the selected ticket, which means an action that is applied to all the selected elements. So for example, you can change the properties for all of these tickets. You can change the state from, I don't know, to open, for example, or to close successful. You can change the type for all of them. You can move them to another queue. You can change the owner of the ticket. You can change the priority. You can link them together, which I've shown you in the last session, or merge them together, or write an email to every ticket, and or add a note. So there are multiple, or as it is already called, bulk actions that can be performed on these tickets. So yeah, very helpful and new function here too in this overview. And one other thing is the export function. So as soon as I have selected some items, and this can be not only tickets, this applies for each and every business object, which is very important because before that was not possible in earlier versions. So you can basically just select in a ticket overview some items and click the export button. And now you can very detailedly define the columns for your export. So which columns would you like to export? You can even define the sort order. So for example, you can have the priority and the number at the beginning and the title, and you can define the export format. So for example, if you click on Excel and click on download file, you will now see a list of these tickets. Let me move it over here and make it a bit bigger. So as you can see here, we have now the Excel export in according to the values we have selected. We moved the number at the beginning, set the priority, the title. So you can very detailedly define your export. And as I have already shown you, you can choose different formats, which includes CSV, Excel, or print. So you can make a print version, a PDF version as well, and yeah, define of course the sortation. You can define which columns should be displayed, which not. So it is always very helpful or very good to take a closer look here at the columns for the export, and of course only select the ones you need for your export, which is a very big and new function in OTRS 8, since before we were not able to change the result of the export in earlier OTRS versions. Now this can be done in a very detailed way here. Again, you can perform a bulk watch or unwatch as well, which is new in OTRS 8. The next thing, I already showed you that in the ticket configuration. So when we had been in the widget configuration or in the business object detail view in the first session, in the first webinar. we saw these filter section. So we can expand it, and it's, as I told you before, it's available for each and every area in OTRS 8. So now we are currently in a ticket list, and the filter section can be used again. So we can filter for certain criteria, and we can add different filter criteria, which was not possible again in earlier versions. So right now it is pre-selected, and this is a default in my ticket list to have an open filter over here, since we don't want to see tickets that are not in the state open. Open does not exclude, for example, pending reminder, but open is, for example, or basically every ticket that is not in a closed state. So of course, tickets that are on pending reminder are seen as open as well. So we can remove this filter preset, and now closed or, for example, merged tickets will be shown as well, since we're not filtering for any state anymore. Of course, you can define your own filter presets. So we have all variables here. You can define, for example, even if you are searching for a pending time before or after, you can say within the last so-and-so or within the next so-and-so, more than 5 days ago, or in more than, so you can very detailedly define a time span or an information of objects that should be displayed over here. As I showed you before in the first webinar, after selecting filter criteria, so let's do add the state again. So we want to see every ticket that is open, pending auto reminder. So this is one option. So you really detailedly select the state itself, or another way would be to use, oh sorry, let's me delete this one. And we will use, for example, the state type. So this is what I told you before. There's a state type which is called open, or even the third thing you can use is the state category. So the state category, you can just select between closed or open. And therefore select this one and add another one, for example, yeah, let's take the what can we use? The owner. So only show me tickets that are owned by me. There's another filter for that as well. So if you want to do it very quickly, you can use owned by me. And then only tickets where you are the owner will be displayed. And you can save this as a filter preset. So for example, my tickets or my opened tickets, save this one. And now if you collapse the filter section again, you can always switch between your different filters. So for example, the open tickets, and then only my open tickets. So you can define different filter presets and yeah, basically use them for each and every section. So for each and every area where you are working. Okay. Last but not least, I'd like to show you the new Pulse mode of OTRS. The Pulse mode is very helpful if you would like to view your overview in a live mode. So you can really, that's why the name speaks for itself. So Pulse mode means it is like a heartbeat, a pulse. So nearly every second, the content of this list will be updated, and it is like a live mode. So every change that will be done on this ticket will be shown here, and it will be displayed in a way that yeah, you always, it's like an auto refresh every second, but it is of course working more in a more dynamic way, so you don't really refresh your website here, but the interface will do it via via technology that it dynamically reloads your page and reloads new incoming objects. So as soon as someone, for example, will add a new ticket to in my queues, and I've activated the pulse mode over here. So this is the button for this one. It will be displayed in my list and it will be added. So every time I'm selecting the pulse mode and now something will change here, it can be the priority as well or a new object, as I told you, then it will be shown here right away. And of course, this pulse mode is available on different screens or in different areas in OTRS 8 as well. So these are all functions I would like to show you in the ticket overview. In this case, it's a business object ticket list. And the next thing now is I would like to show you the organizer or how to customize your organizer. So we have these different organizer items over here. We have the all chat requests for all currently available requests on your website. We have the ticket lists. But what I am missing right now is a list of my customers. So when we take a look in the main menu, there's only the possibility in the customer management to create customer or customer users. But I want basically just to see a list of my customers or customer users that are available in OTRS. So this is done through an organizer item. So you can add as many items as you like on this side stripe here. And I would like to show you how to do that. So open your personalization area again, please, and click on Customize Organizer. There we will find a plus symbol. We can always move these items with a drag and drop function over here. So you can create your own structure, of course. If you did it wrong, just reset to default, and the default, which has been defined by the administrator, will be taken into effect. So you can always switch back to the default, but of course be aware that all organizer items you have added will be lost. So now let's add a new organizer item, and there you get different suggestions which kind of organizer item or a business object list you can add. So for example, as I told you, I would like to add a list of valid customers. So in my case, let me add this one, the valid customer organizer item. And you can change, for example, on the upper left corner, the position. So if you don't want to do it via drag and drop, you can just move it up and down with these arrows. You can change the icon. So you can just scroll down a list or search for certain icons. You can see there are quite a lot of more and new icons in OTRS 8. And you can search for a category or building construction or what you like. So different possibilities here. Let me close that one. I'm very satisfied with this icon, so I will choose this one. You can rename it, but valid customers for my case is good, and you can customize it. So now you can see the information of your organizer item. So how should the list be displayed? Before I show you in further details the configuration, let's finish the customization and save it. And let me just show you how it looks right now. So when I hover it, you will see we have the customer ID on the left side. We have the customer, we have the city, the validity, the opened and currently closed tickets, and we can again, of course, open the full list and highlight a specific entry and select filter presets. As you can see, the numbers of found elements are not shown over here. because in the ticket list you can see 7 or 11. And of course, you can customize this. So each organizer item can be customized. So if I select the one again and click on customize, you can change all the settings of this organizer item, which means you can, for example, decide to show the number of found results or not, in this case of found customers. You can change the order of the columns. So for example, if you would like to have it, if you would like to add some information, you can basically add the country, for example, to the list. You can add the sortation or change the sortation, so by which criteria the list will be sorted. And you can add filters. Of course, you can always combine these types of sortation or filter. So you can say first sort it by customer ascending, then by customer ID descending, or what else criteria would like to use. So there are different possibilities to use. Okay, and another thing, as soon as you combine filters, you can of course always add new filters. So I don't know, this one, then I add another one. And you finish the customization, you can always choose the number of results as well. I would always recommend in OTRS 8 to take a very low number, because OTRS 8 will automatically load more results if they are available in a very dynamic way. So it's not necessary to push this limit to, for example, 100 results, because it will slower your system. It will reduce the performance of your system. So I would recommend to use a very low value here. Okay, I will cancel this customization, save it again, and exit the organizer, because you can do the same of customization in the screen configuration. So if you always click on the gear wheel in the upper right corner, you can perform a detailed configuration of the element as well, which means it is the same to click on a specific organizer and to open the configuration wheel. So this is the same screen as if you choose the way over personalization area, customize organizer, click a specific widget, organizer item, customize it, and there you go. So it's really the same. If you choose this way, or in a very easy way, choose this way, it is the same. But of course, if you are currently in the list and just want to change something of your organizer item, this would be the quicker way. So for example, if you decide in the let's go back to the valid customers, and if you decide, okay, for example, I'm not interested in the customer ID, I just want to see the customer, you can change it here as well, and there you go. So of course, in the future, it will be shown here as well. So every configuration you are doing basically can be done via different criteria. All right. So another thing I'd like to show you is, let's add a new organizer item, for example, the customer users. The customer users is a list of valid, so available customer users. If we take a look at the customization, we can see that we have a filter criteria, only show valid customers, since we don't want to see customers that have been set to invalid, for example, because they canceled the contract with us or are just not customers anymore. So we save it, and now we have the list of available customer users. So other options here as well. Let's take a closer look. So we have now different organizer items over here with different criteria. Of course, we can again customize this organizer item with this customer section, the sorting, the filter list, the number of results, which columns should be shown in which order. So we can always move up and down this this columns here, and change the order of the columns. So everything is possible. But of course, you can imagine when you are starting to, for example, add very many organizer items. So you have, imagine now we have, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 organizer items right now. But imagine you have about 20 or 30. It can get a bit messy here. So it is also possible to structure your organizer, because when you click on Customize Organizer and add a new organizer item, there are not only different business object lists, for example, the chat request, the configuration item list, so of your CMDB, customer lists, customer user lists, knowledge base article lists, and service lists and ticket lists. But there is also a so-called separator under miscellaneous. So as soon as you choose the separator and move it, for example, at the beginning of your ticket list, you can group your organizer items to, for example, in this case, I will create a ticket list group. So let me choose a good icon for a ticket list. Let me have a look. So for example, where is an icon of a list? Yeah, let's take this one. So now we have all tickets with the ticket list here. Okay, let's save this one. And I add another one to separate the ticket lists from my customer list. So I want to create a separator, so a group for each business object. So I move it up again. So before or in front of my customer lists. Change the icon. So for example, I use this building construction, this company sign, and call it customers. And of course, I use the separator as a default or like a preset. Save and exit. And now you can see that this organizer has been structured. So we have different groups. In this case, we have the ticket list over here and the customer list. We can collapse or expand them. And this gives us a very good overview and a very nice possibility to structure your organizer. Of course, you can define a default organizer as well as an administrator. This will be shown in the admin training. And as you can imagine, this organizer can be very powerful. So it doesn't matter in which screen you are currently in, you can always view by hovering the item your different lists, and you can always see, of course, if there are new incoming objects, and the organizer will be always live. So every time a new object will be added to a business object list over here on the left side, you will see it even if you are currently in a business object detail view of a ticket, for example. So as you can imagine, the organizer is a very powerful and very helpful tool in the new agent interface of OTRS 8. All right, so we are done with the customize organization area. We will now come to the last points of this webinar session today. So let's check the next section, which is the help. The help will lead you to our documentation, to the user manual, and it will explain in a written way, so you can read everything I've explained to you in this webinar session and in the last, of course, the last webinar session and the next 2 webinar sessions as well. So this is our user manual, and for example, if we check, it is structured in the same way as I'm structuring my presentation. So you can use, for example, the personalization area. We see the different areas, and then we will get a further explanation to each area. So if you missed something of my presentation, or if you didn't understand something very well, feel free to use this user manual and to read if it could maybe answer your question. And of course, these manuals are available for different topics as well. So this is our user manual. We have a manual for the administration as well, the administrator dashboard, and for our feature add-ons as well. So there are different manuals available for OTRS, which can be accessed via doc.otrs.com. So here all manuals are available, and right now we are on the user manual, and I would always prefer the HTML file, since I can use hyperlinks over here and jump to the areas where I would like to have further informations about. The next section, the chat availability, gives you the possibility to set yourself available for the chat. So the chat icon you can see on the lower right corner is, so down below there's an icon, and you can use it, for example, to chat with different agents. You saw this function already on the dashboard, or when we were in a ticket, we can always start a chat with another agent, or you can use this function to chat with a customer. So it's always possible to, if the customer is available, you can always start a chat with a customer as well, create a ticket out of this chat so you can attach a chat protocol to your ticket. And with this chat availability, you can define if you are available, for example, not available, which means you are not available at all. You can see it via this icon over here. You can use the internal availability, which means you are only available for other colleagues. For example, I would be available to my colleague John and write him a message. And internal and external, which would mean I'm available for not only my colleagues, but for customer users as well. So on the external interface. Last function, and I think this is a very nice way to end this webinar, is the log out button. So that's how you can log out the agent interface, and that's how I would like to sum up this webinar. So that's it for today and for this session.
Luca, thank you so much for going over OTRS 8 and the personalization with this webinar. If you have any questions or anything that maybe perhaps Luca didn't cover or you want more information on, please reach out to us at sales@otrs.com, and we'll be more than happy to go over these information with you or personalize your own demonstration. Please join us for our next webinar, which will talk about OTRS 8 dashboards, the personal dashboards. We look forward to having you next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.